And there we go. So everyone, welcome. This is a throwback version, our first Zoom of the year. Dave in Colorado or Aruba, who knows where he is.
Dude,
How's it going, Dave?
it's supposed to snow out here in Denver this weekend, so I thought I'd bring a
Is it
little
actually?
tropical feel to make myself feel better about that. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's actually like 70 degrees today. Yeah, it was 74 degrees today, so I don't think we're gonna get any snow. Um, but I'm happy to have you. Listen, we're 7 weeks in already. It's the halfway point, believe it or not. So this is our mid-year recap. Kind of a crazy year. I know Dan alluded to it. Like almost every team is 3-4. Like everyone can make playoffs. Anyone can miss the playoffs. It's kind of crazy how these first few weeks are shaking out.
And things are heating up too, Joe. Just today, there were a number of trades. I think any given Sunday involved in three of those trades just today. Things are getting wild. Things are getting crazy in the NFL. As we you have to expect that at this point. In year, what is it, 15? You have to kind of expect the craziness.
Even a group chat trade, which seems to be the first ever.
History was made. That's right.
Um, yeah. So the plan here, we're gonna start at 12 and work our way, I guess, to the top. And we'll just kind of recap each team. We'll say playoffs or no playoffs, piss some people off, and go from there.
And Joe, we spoke earlier today. This will piss some people off. This will piss some
It
people off. Some
certainly
people are
will.
not going to be happy.
It certainly will. So let's start with last place team. It's me. It's the Boondoggle Boys. I've got like three bullet points for each, so I'm just gonna rattle them off. So opponents scored under 90 points only three times this year. I'm 2-1 when that happens. QB position averaging 15 points per game, which puts me right in line with just starting Desmond Ritter every week, so not great. And we've only put up below 85 points just once, and that was last week when my quarterback had negative points and Bijan Robinson just didn't play. Um, so look, 2-5 record's not great. Everything else is looking good. What do you have on the Boondoggle Boys?
Dude, you've had a hard luck season so far. Uh, Not only, but you scored 120 points and lost this year. Last week I eked out a win over you. I definitely should have lost that. You had the Bijan situation. Um, Deshaun went down super early. It's been hard luck for you, and you've I think you've kind of given the blueprint how to turn an expansion team around quickly, which is nice. I think you're right in there with. I think, where are you in points? You have to be right up there
I'm
with the
up there.
rest
I
of
think
the
I'm
league.
fourth or fifth in points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are fourth. Yeah, you're fourth exactly.
I need a tiebreaker. Our
Yeah,
goal right now is 6-8.
I have Boondoggle Boys in as the 5 seed in the playoffs. Not
I
not even 6 or 7. I have them in as the 5 right now. I think you're strong. I think these things tend to even out when you're putting up points on a regular basis. I think things will come to you. And I like the squad in general. I did write down, Joe, that this was before some developments, that I really liked the low risk trade for Brock Purdy, who a
You would have
few
thought.
hours later was reported to have a concussion. Not optimal, but
Yeah.
I
We
still
can't
I still do like the trade.
we can't figure out quarterback right now. It is what it is. What's funny too, like I'm really not a big like, oh, my bench player outscored my starter. I really don't care about that stuff. I make a decision, I live with it. I put
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson while sitting in a pew waiting for a baptism to begin. So I blame the family that showed up late and everyone had to wait for their baby. So I blame that baby for what happened last week. Um, all right, hey, we both got the Boondoggle Boys in, even though sitting at 2-5. We'll see what happens. Moving to 11, the Watermelon Bandits sitting at 3-4, 560 total points, which looks like the fewest. In the three wins that they have, their opponents have scored 67, 48, and 72 points. He's had below 80 points in 5 of 7 weeks, but he is 2-1 with Burrow and Swift in the lineup, so maybe that trade has sparked something within the locker room.
Joe, let me just tell you. I've been we no ATS yet this year. I've been waiting to tee off on the Bandits all year, my friend. I mean, the miserable Josh Allen trade, and I know Josh Allen hasn't been playing like Josh Allen lately, but it's still better than what Joe Kiss got in return. Miserable, horrible move. What are you possibly doing? And then last week's loss, heartbreaking fashion, heartbreaking to now.
Unreal.
I mean, that's as bad as honestly, that might be as bad a loss. Maybe the circumstances weren't as serious as like a playoff loss or something like that, but that was as bad as a loss as I've ever seen. He had that one twice and threw picks twice.
It's true. It was
I think that's going to be tough to recover from. You kind of went through it, 3 games of 68 or below, not great.
yeah.
I think just looking at his team too, I think he needs too much to go right? Like Jonathan Taylor, how's that going to go? Like that's his best player, the best player on his roster. Like it's kind of an unknown now. He looked good last week, but who knows the quarterback situation as it is with so many other people. Burrow just not looking like Burrow. I don't know, man. I don't have faith that he's going to turn around. Shut the fuck up.
This to me is an easy no playoff.
Easy. I actually, since I'm giving you I give you kind of rankings. He's number 12 here.
Yeah, he's
Let me shut this dog the fuck up.
no, go for it. I think that's all we need to say about the Bandits. It is what it is. Next, we'll move on to Heartland State in 10th place, also 3-4. Only 3 more points than the Watermelon Bandits, so they're second fewest points. My stats here, only 3 weeks above 73 points, and he's 3-0 in those weeks. So if he can just score 73, he'll win every week. His opponent has scored over 90 points just twice this year. But hey, you know what they say? He's dominating 2/3 of the game. Number 2 defense, number 1 kicker. That's more than half the battle right there. What do you got? What do you got on Chris's squad?
Chris, I think kind of top to bottom, pretty solid. But I think he's missing that star power, right? Like he doesn't have that guy that's gonna like carry you through a week. You have, Trevor Lawrence trade, fine. I like Waddle's good, Ayuk's good, Kirk's been good. Gibbs hasn't really been getting. I think Gibbs has to be Chris's X factor here.
Yeah.
I think Gibbs starts getting his share of touches. Chris could compete. Right now, I have him out currently.
I have him out as well. I think part of it too is like he's so far behind right now. Well, there's like a handful of teams that have a very low amount of points, and I think that's going to come back to bite a couple teams. But to your point, yeah, I think it's missing that star on that team. Yeah, so I'm out as well.
Yeah.
Number 9, the Rolling Stoners sitting at 3-4, 573 points, part of that kind of collective group down there. Stoners only 1 week over 90 points. They won. Opponent under 70 points 3 times. He's 2-1 in those games. But here's the bright side. He's 2-1 with Saquon Eckler and Amon-Ra all in the lineup. This is an interesting team. What do you got for the Stoners?
Yeah, I talked about the Boondoggle Boys having hard luck. Oh man, they're the Rolling Stoners with the injuries, man. Brutal. Obviously Eckler went down, Barkley went down, even like Freiermuth went down. But he's treaded water. He's gotten himself to 3-4. I actually think he's in okay shape, all things considered. I think the points are going to be hard to make up, but right now I have Richie getting in at the 7th seed. I have him grabbing that last spot.
I actually also have the Stoners in, and for those at home, we didn't talk about who we have in or out.
No.
But so far we're 4-4. Yeah, I got the Stoners in too. Richie's like manifesting, saying his team's good every couple of days. It seems. I don't know how good they are, but he does talking about Chris's team. Richie does have, at least 2, maybe even 3 guys who can go out and win a week.
I think very different than Chris's team. Also, that like Richie's very top heavy. He's got, he's got superstars. Then he has Jackson Smith and Jigba in his lineup too, which like had a good week last week. But is that sustainable? So yeah, a little top heavier, but like I think I prefer that in a team than someone who really has no one that can like carry them through a
I'd
week.
rather Saquon, Eckler, and Amon Ra than not having them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
For
interesting.
sure.
Let's have the stoners in. And that leads us into the number 8 spot right now. Any given Sunday. Just had to harp on it. I mean, I guess it won't be an issue anymore, but just he's picked the correct quarterback 2 of the 7 weeks so far. In his 3 wins, averaging 98 points, and 4 losses, averaging 72. So a lot of boomer bust. One thing I thought was interesting: wins with 4 different running backs, 5 different receivers, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. Never had the same lineup in any of his wins. So a lot of moving parts. What do you got on AGS?
A lot of moving parts, even some more moving parts today, obviously.
Yeah,
Um, Running backs is a problem for John. He's got Kareem Hunt in right now, Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know. I do kind of like his receiver depth. The fact that you can put DK on the bench is a good sign, but he needs to shore up the running back spot big time. And again, I think Lamar's his X factor here. I think he will go as Lamar does.
yeah.
Lamar's prone to those high turnover games, so you hit one of those at the wrong time and you could be in trouble. I have John just out at the 8th spot right now. I think if he makes a trade or two
An
more,
actual impactful trade.
yeah, I think he can get himself back in the picture though.
I have John out as well, actually. I went back and forth a lot on if I had him in or not. AJ Brown has become a real problem on the field.
Yeah,
But I don't, yeah, I think it's just, again, outside of Lamar and AJ Brown, it's never a lineup that you're like afraid of. I don't think there's not many guys that you're like are scared are going to go off against you.
yeah.
So yeah, again, those running backs are all they're very Dave Shreve 2022-esque.
Never
Um,
going to hear the end of the day for your 2022 running back. I mean, AJ Brown hasn't had under 127 yards receiving since he bitched. So there you go.
What is the quote? The squeaky wheel gets the grease or something like that,
There you
whatever it
go,
is.
dude. There you go.
Um, all right, next, Oots Rebellion, sitting 3-4, 641 points. 5 matchups decided by 10 points or less, including the last 4. 2-0 with Nick Chubb, 1-4 without. Team has not scored below 78 points. What do you got for the Rebellion?
Joe, you threw a lot of positive stats for Roots Rebellion out there. Um, at the beginning of this, I said there are probably going to be some unhappy people by the end of this. I have Roots Rebellion as being one of those unhappy people.
Uh-oh,
I have him finishing ninth.
ninth.
Um, I think that you're right. He's been putting up kind of pretty consistent numbers, not too low, but his team is it's a different team without Chubb, right? Like it just looks completely different. Montgomery was a monster, but like a bruising running back like that, having a rib injury is kind
Not great.
of
Yeah,
concern me a little bit. I don't know, just something about the team. It just doesn't like none of the receivers wow me. Keenan Allen's been awesome, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean Hurts is has been what he was last year again. But I just don't see it right now, and I think Kevin will use this as motivation and maybe prove me wrong here. But I currently have Oots Rebellion finishing out at ninth.
There's our first disagree. I have Oots getting in, and again, I think it's just that consistency. He might not have like a game breaker without Chubb on his team, other than I guess Hurts, but like they're all pretty good, and I
Yeah.
think there's enough teams right now that I'm just looking at lineups that I think are kind of bad. Where I think he's gonna get in. I don't know that this is a championship team, but with 7 playoff teams, I think they find a way. So that's our first disagreement there, Dave.
Okay.
Um,
That means there has to be another one then, right?
that is true, man. All right, that leads us to Deuces Wilds, also 3-4, 654 points. 3 weeks above 100, he's 3-0. 4 weeks under 100, 0-4. That's simple. Uh, I I know Dan has said this in the past, but without Kenny Walker, if you just exclude him, his entire starting lineup has scored, or running backs and receivers have scored 7 touchdowns all season, 3 of which came last week. So not a lot of touchdowns being scored. And again, no surprise, Mahomes in the wins, 33 points per game, 20 in the losses. So as Mahomes goes, the Wild go.
I actually had that exact note. Team goes as Mahomes goes. Nice, Joe.
Look at us.
um, so you have them.
I have them on the outside looking in.
Wow. Okay, that's our other
Yeah.
disagreement then here. I actually have Deuces Wild getting in. 3 games over 100 points so far. Pretty good. I said team goes as Mahomes, and I think Walker's actually been really really good
Yeah.
too. Um, I think he could probably use a receiver upgrade. I think Jacoby Myers continues to get in the fucking end zone every week instead of Devontae Adams for some reason. So keep riding that till it breaks. But I think he could probably use an upgrade. Garrett Wilson, obviously, you couldn't have seen that coming. But I think he's solid up and down. I'm a Deuces Wild guy too. And I think this year, when tight end is such a fucking black hole,
Yeah.
I think having a guy like Hawkinson is important too.
Yeah.
You're pretty much on the positive end most teams, unless you're facing Kelsey.
Yeah.
I think you probably have the matchup advantage there most weeks with Hawkinson.
Yeah. My what came down for me was just like it is the touchdowns. Like no one on the team scores. Like I know it's like low this year, but I also don't think it's going to change much. The only thing that I think will change is that Myers will stop scoring. Like, so that was really what it came down to. It's not a bad team. I think he has a very good real life team. But for fantasy, I don't think the touchdowns are going to be there in the end.
Yeah,
So
I'm kind of a Damian Pierce guy too. I like him. I know he hasn't been putting up numbers, but
yeah, it's going to
I
tough
don't know.
stuff for sure. Yeah,
I like that offense. Stroud's the truth.
yeah, true. That is a good team. Um, all right, and that moves us to Slice of Zeiss, another 3-4 team, 699 points, and his 3 wins, averaging 125 points per game. 3 matchups decided by 1 point. He's 2-1 in those matchups. Opponent has scored more than 108 points 4 times. So a lot of high scoring games, a lot of close games. But to me, this is as no brainer as the Bandits are. This is a no brainer. Yes, playoffs.
Oh yeah, not even close. Highest points against teams are averaging 104.1 points a game against him. That's 7 points a game higher than anyone else. Uh,
That's a lot.
he he's second in points per game. I think the Josh Allen trade really puts him over the top.
It does.
Um, Mostert, even if that, I don't think that injury is overly concerning, but if he is out for any period of time, you got Kamara to fill right in there. I think the only thing I would be a little concerned about is Devonta Smith hasn't really put up numbers.
Right. Yeah.
And I think versus what you expected from him, at least I did. I coveted Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
I think that's a little disappointing. And maybe he tries to shore up the receivers too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I obviously getting it. I am getting it at the 3 seed. But yeah, I think that's pretty easy one for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I know he sucked, but I think if your biggest problem is like your wide receiver 3 or whatever, I think you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Next, that brings us to the Rogues, sitting at 4-3, 570 points, but you don't apologize for winning. Opponent has scored under 77 points 5 times. You're 4-1 when that happens. This is just a note. Had a 42-point week. Just thought that was worth mentioning. And
We didn't have to make note of that,
two
Joe.
two and one with Cooper Cup back in the lineup.
Hey,
I've got the Rogues making it in. I'll just say that right now. Cup and Adams is a dynamic duo that you're going to need points from. But again, I think the worst is behind you, and you're 4-3. So what do you got?
yeah, I would agree. I think I've been fucking crushed with injuries too. And that kind of like my points for was kind of fucked right off the bat. Like I put up somewhat of a solid week 1 and put up like 70 points, and then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and the like zero. Like I was expecting like a 90-point week that week, and it's
Yeah.
just every week it feels like someone's gotten hurt during the game. And that's kind of crushed me a little bit. 42 points, obviously not optimal. 42 is my lucky number though, so that might mean
Hey.
something.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't seen the full squad together yet, though. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
And with two in the fold, I think
that's
that was
true.
kind of my big issue where there was quarterback. Matt Stafford was pretty consistently around like 15 points, but
Well, he is
it's
back, so let's not bash him too much.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But that's not going to win you any weeks.
Yeah.
I have myself no bias, of course, but I have myself getting it at the 4 seed.
Of course, yeah. I mean, look,
Right where I'm
four
at.
and
Yeah,
three. You're one of four teams with a winning record right now. So
exactly.
yeah, don't apologize for winning.
Rogues are rolling.
Yeah. Um, okay. That brings us to Bo and the West Cannon Coyotes sitting at 4 and 3, 609 points. This is an interesting stat that I think you're gonna like. Rob Hood has 0 weeks scoring between 77 and 97 points. Zero. He's gone above 97 3 times. He's 3-0. He's gone below 77 4 times. He's 1 and 3.
That's wild, Joe. Great
Yeah,
stat.
yeah. Thank you. He's had a week scoring in the 40s as well, and he won when you scored in the 40s, so back to back 40s. And just a random one, 3-1 with Dak in the starting lineup as his quarterback. Um, what do you got on the Coyotes? I want to hear what your thoughts are.
So here's one of those other people that are not going to be too happy with me.
I'm on board with you.
Um,
I'm with you.
I have the West Canada Coyotes finishing 10th. Um, I hate Dak. I hate Najee. I hate Aaron Jones this year for fantasy purposes. I like Aaron Jones. Um, I don't like T. Higgins. I don't like Debo.
You don't
I
like
don't
his
really
entire team.
I
Okay.
don't really like anyone on his team. I will say DJ Moore on the Bears has been a bit of a problem.
When he plays
Especially
when he plays
especially
the
for
Rogues.
fucking me. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I love you, Rob. I made a note of it too. Love Rob. I don't know if you can see that.
We just see
Um
palm trees.
yeah, love Rob. Don't feel good about the team. And who knows? Maybe Rob makes a trade. I just like he has a lot of guys I just don't
No, I mean,
personally
I'm with you.
care for in fantasy.
Najee Harris is really bad. T. Higgins has been horrendous. I mean, his whole team just hasn't been great. And there's just too many holes, I think. There's not a player on his team that I think you look at and like feel good about. Um,
I will say this, and I don't mean to cut you off, Joe. I did forget about Kyron Williams and that he was playing out of his mind
yeah, he
before he
was.
got hurt. That was kind of a tough blow. I do like him, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there. Yeah,
No,
not
I'm all set. It's just a no for the Coyotes for me.
say it again. I'm sorry.
So it's just a no for me. Is
Yeah.
what it is.
Sorry, Rob. Love you, dude.
Number two spot, we got Murphy's Law sitting at 5-2, 669 in the points. Another solid season so far for James. 0-2 against teams with a championship, 5-0 against teams without a championship.
Oh,
So really, who has he beaten? 3-0 with Pacheco in his lineup. Interesting, considering he's got three good running backs over there. And here's another good one that you might like, Dave. We've played 7 weeks so far. James has a week of scoring in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, hundreds, 110s, and 120s. How
dude,
about that?
oh
How
fuck.
about that?
You just blew my mind.
So
Dude, these are great. These are great stats.
odds are we're seeing
Great
either in the
stats.
50s or over 130. So we'll see what
Dude, have you
happens first.
have you ever considered becoming a stat guy? I think I might have a job for you on
Maybe,
another show,
maybe. But I got Murphy's Law and I like James's team.
Uh I'll go one further, Joe. I not only like Murphy's Law to get in, I have Murphy's Law as the number one seed getting the bye in the playoffs.
It's a big
Uh
buy.
Solid up and down. I think his pickup or pick of Sam Laporta, I think he drafted him, to be honest. Might be one of my favorite picks in the entire draft. It's worked out great for him.
Yeah,
Tyreek is a cheat code, putting up 19.1 points per week.
unreal.
Might set the receiving record this year too. He could probably use another receiver, but I think James is just that. How many people have I said that for? Like there's just
Yeah.
not enough receivers to go around for a 12-team league. I think James is in really good shape. I like his squad a lot.
I think James is at a point with his team where like I feel like his base is like he it's going to be rare I think to see him below like 80 points. Like just between quarterback, two running backs, and Tyreek, with those four players, you're thinking at least like 60 every week with four guys. So yeah, this team's gonna be a problem.
Exactly. And kind of like I said, I forgot what team I was mentioning, but that they needed like just too much to go right.
Yeah,
James would almost need too much to go wrong to really go on like a bad losing streak or miss the playoffs or anything like that.
yeah,
I think he's in really good shape. Tony Pollard on the bench right now, not too shabby too. It's pretty good running back depth there.
yeah, yeah. I'd say. All right, and that leads us real deal. I mean, he's just a firecracker. He's got 750 points. Unfortunately, there's really not much bad to say so far. He's been an absolute wagon. 0 weeks below 85 points. Has not started the same lineup once, which I thought was funny, especially for a 6-1 team. The only thing I can find negative is 0-1 when his opponent scores 100 points. So if you give him 100, he might lose. Um, but unfortunately, this is I mean, at this point, he could probably lose out and make the playoffs. So he's obviously in. The question will be, what does that team look like come playoffs?
107 points per game. That's just dominant to this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like you said, 98 points in his only loss. He's weak at running back, obviously, but I don't know what to say. He just keeps fucking putting up points every week somehow. It's just dominant performance. I have to tip my cap to him. I think we all do. And despite the Justin Jefferson injury, he's
wow,
still
crazy.
somehow putting up numbers with guys like Rashee Rice.
Yeah,
And even with Cup back, Puka's putting up numbers still. He
yeah,
he seems like he's actually a legitimately good receiver. He made a few monster catches last week too. Yeah, I think Josh, like you said, he could lose out and probably still make it. I haven't taken the 2 seed. Obviously getting in. And really impressive actually overall. I do like CJ Stroud for him too, as I said before.
yeah. The funny thing is too, like if you look at Josh's lineup this week, I wouldn't be surprised if like four of those guys are not in his like week 1 playoff lineup. Like I think Josh might go on an absolute rampage of trades at some point because I think he knows his team isn't like I don't know that this team right now as it stands is like a championship team. Um, but man, he's in a really good spot. I don't know. It's just Josh. He always makes something happen somehow.
Yeah, it's with all these trades going on, Josh might have a stroke if he doesn't
Oh
get
yeah,
involved in
he'll
one of
have one
these.
by the time
Like,
this episode's out. I'm sure.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Uh,
All
yeah,
right.
I mean, unreal, dude. How did we let that happen?
I don't know. But so give an overall recap. I didn't put mine in like a 1 through 7, but just guys in the playoffs. I got Real Deal, Murphy's Law, the Rogues, Slices Ice, Oots Rebellion, Stoners, Boondoggle Boys.
Okay, I like it, Joe. Not too much different. I got Murphy's Law, Real Deal, Anthony Davis football team. Had to catch myself there. Gotham Rogues, Boondoggle Boys, Deuces Wild, Rolling Stoners. With AGS, Ooch Rebellion, West Canaan, HSU, and the Bandits missing out.
Yeah, I was hoping one of us wouldn't pick Richie just because I don't know. He's suddenly like all in on his team being good, but I think he's gonna make it. It's gonna be interesting. Like we could be way off. Obviously, everyone is still very much alive. The deadline's gonna be crazy. I think it's in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I don't know if anyone's even going to be selling at that point.
Or Dan, get some rest now, Dan. It's
Yeah,
coming,
really.
my friend.
Make sure that computer's charged.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I think we say it every year though, Joe. It seems to get this league just seems to get better every year. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to sprinkle this in on your show, but maybe in a few weeks, another MFL show, maybe making its triumphant return. You heard it here
Wow.
first.
You put that on the airwaves, people are going to hold you to it.
Good.
So
Hold
you
me.
heard that, folks. Fingers crossed. Any other last words other than that nuclear missile you just dropped on us?
I just always love being on the show, Joe. You do a great job. You blew my mind with a few stats today that's just unreal. Yeah, you do a good job. Since you came in, just nonstop content. You gotta love that from one of the new guys. It's just great.
Yeah.
And that's not a slight to you, Chris. I love you too. Um,
Yeah, it's
but
fun. The
great
TikToks are
job, dude.
easy. China knows what they're doing. They make it super simple. So, but yeah, appreciate it. But hey, that's it. We'll obviously do another Zoom later on in this season. Hopefully by that time the Boondoggle Boys and the Rogues are in the playoffs and we're talking about our matchups for week one. So thank you, Dave. Good luck to the Rogues in the rest of the season.
Thank
Uh
you, Joe.
Toast your bagels, roast your drives. We'll see you next time.